Hello everyone and welcome to the module Research Method for UX Design. My name is Mahmoud Khairul and I will be your mentor for this module. Before we start, I'd just like to give you a brief highlights of what the learning approach looks like. We'll have a short lecture first, then have a visuals, a short quiz for practice, and then a group discussion. Don't worry, this won't be too difficult. It will be very easy, just a short practice for everyone. And just before we start, I encourage everyone to have a pen or a pencil with a piece of paper to just gather any information that you think will be really helpful for yourself. It just keeps the brain really steady. Also have a glass of water next to you or a bottle of water to breathe in, gives you more oxygen and relax. Now, what are we going to learn? We're going to learn to start with is the importance of user research and the user design and development. The types of UX research, the research planning, how we collect the data and how we do the analysis of the data. And just to wrap up, we're going to just go through the challenges and the best practices. Now, what is research in UX design? The UX research method are great at producing data and insights. It just makes everyone's effort more effective and more valuable. Also, it helps to not distract from the user goals, what exactly you're trying to achieve from the business point of view and from the user point of view. So research in UX design is just amazing. You know, there are users from different race, from different age, from different colors, from different behavior, attitude, everything. Now, understanding the user is really challenging, also very exciting. Sometimes you might think that user going to do this, whereas user end up doing something else. So that's why research is a perfect way just to sum all these things together. So what are the types of UX research? Now, before we go and try to find out the types, there are characteristics of this research. One is the behavioral and attitudinal, and another one is qualitative and quantitative. Now, behavioral and attitudinal is something what people do and what people say. Example, I'm saying that I would like to go to Amazon website and would like to buy a phone. But what I am actually doing, I go to Amazon website and then I buy a phone. Not only I buy a phone, I also try and buy a phone case along with it. So that is the two kind of characteristic that I have. Another one is qualitative and quantitative. The qualitative approach mostly shows why and how to fix things, whereas quantitative is more of a measurement of the data, the metrics of these things, like how many and how much. Now, the types of UX research in different stages. Just to bear in mind, the research methods are an iterative process. So from starting to the big end of the whole journey, you keep doing the user research. Now on the UX research stages, there is a discover part, explore part, test and listen, and you do research on all of this. We're going to come back to this later on. Let's go one by one. On the discover stage, there is a field study. Now what is field study? Imagine I have asked you to build a mobile app, which is a chat support app for an airport. Let's take example of a Heathrow airport. Now, instead of sitting in front of your computer, you are advised to go to the airport, talk to the user, and try to understand the user more. That is field study. The second one is diary study. Diary study is a longer term behavioral insights that you collect. So example, on the same example of that support chat app that we're talking about, here you do a diary study by understanding what exactly the user is doing, what's creating his frustration, what is creating the long-term attitude of that user, who are the user which needs this kind of support, and all these things. So it's a long-term behavior. The user interview are a set of questions that you set and then you ask. just to understand fulfilling your research goal. The stakeholders interview is the stakeholder who is looking for this app and what exactly the business value are they trying to achieve from this. Second one is on the explore stage, and where you do competitive analysis, where you compare the different feature with your competitors. This is helpful to keep you ahead in the business value market. Also, the persona building. You do the research of the user, and then you have found out that these are the types of personas that you are seeing. So example, before going to the airport, you didn't know that you will end up finding a lots of family with small child, and that could be your persona as well. Another one is the task analysis. In the task analysis, you set a task and then you see how that user does the task. So bringing the same example, if we say how exactly or what exactly first thing the user does when they need a support, whether they open an app on the mobile or they go and ask people and what exactly they're doing. Another one is journey mapping. Journey mapping is the end-to-end journey of that user doing any of the task. So in the similar example, from entering the airport and from leaving to the plane, what exactly the whole user does, that could be a great journey mapping of that. Then the prototype feedback and testing, where you bring different ideas and you collect feedback. And then writing the user stories is also a great addition, where you write a user stories that what exactly the user is and what exactly the user is trying to achieve. So at first probably you understood that the user needs a support chat system, but you found out the user actually is looking for something, a support chat system, but which is very, very easy to use. So it's building a more detail in the user stories. A card sorting will be really helpful when you have different ideas, but you grouped it together. So a great example is on an e-commerce site, how exactly the user behave on which one comes first and which one goes second. So first on the home page, what exactly they do, whether they go and search something and whether they type something and search, or whether they exactly know which category to go and then they check out. So you can group all the stages and then you can go on from there on. On the testing is qualitative usability testing. So in person or remote, and this is also a bit of research. In person, you can do, you can ask question, you set the question, you see what exactly the comparison, whether you can ask whether they like it, you don't like it, what kind of improvement they think could be really great, all this thing. Benchmark testing, it's you have a benchmark set and you see whether that person is going beyond the benchmark or staying underneath. Last one, probably one of the most important one, is accessibility evaluation, because you need to care about users from a different background with different accessibility of users. How exactly are they using it and how exactly are they trying to achieve on things. And the last one is the listen part. The listen part consisting of survey, the analytics review, the search log analysis, usability bug review, and frequently asked questions. This is more of you give the floor to the user and then just listen what exactly do they do. You can do a survey, you can do analytics where you get numbers, what button they're clicking, what exactly they're typing, all these numbers. A search log analysis, what exactly they're searching, what are the keywords. On the usability bug review, are they easily finding things that you want them to find on those things? And then the frequently asked question, what kind of question they really look for. So sometimes in an e-commerce site, probably something like how do I make a payment, or can I use a Visa, or can I use a Master, can I use a bank account, all those things. Now bringing to a small practice from understanding all this on the discover, explore, test, listen, can you now identify which of this research method is qualitative and which one is competitive. Before doing the research planning, you try to do an introduction of what exactly who are doing the research. It could be you could be you and your colleague, whoever it is together, probably you, sometimes some other case study person who has joined. So title, author, you do the stakeholder, when you have done it, what were the project background, and some research goals. Research goals is really, really important. It helps you just to stay on the path. Then you set the research question that you're gonna go for. What are the questions your research is trying to answer? On the KPI, how can you measure the progress towards the user research goals? Now, KPI, key performance indicators. How, when you have all this data, like how you're gonna progress towards the research goal. Taking the example of the support chat UI, you can ask how many people has completely doing one of the tasks. So what is the task completion rate? What is, how many people has failed in that task? How many people did not get? How many people thinks that this is friendly or user not friendly? So all these things comes into the KPI. And then comes the methodology, like how will you collect this data? There are different methodologies. So how are you going to collect this data? Are you going to collect this data in a number? Which tools you're going to use? Anything else? Are you going to do a video recording? Are you going to keep an Excel sheet and do this? And then comes the participants. Who will include in the study? What are the characteristics to the participant hand, and why did you choose them? And at the end, it comes the script. At what question will you ask to the study participant? So depending on this, let's do a group exercise for this, building a support chat app for the Heathrow Airport. You're gonna first do an introduction, the research question, the KPI, the methodology, and participants, and the script. So let's divide in the same group and then see what answer that you come up with. All right, great. Going forward, the data collection and data analysis. There are different way of data collection method that we use. One is from the existing user base. So let's say it is an app of Amazon. So Amazon already has an existing user base, and so you collect data from them. So kind of sometimes you throw in questions and then you ask them to answer if they have time. You can also ask online. You can go to some different medias and then you can ask a survey or online, all this. Hallway testing, it's example when you are given the task to build a support chat UI, a support chat mobile app. You go to the airport and you stand there and then you ask people that whether they will be happily involved, they will happily get involved on this test that you're doing, and you'd like to gather some information. Last, in the incentives, different people that we see, there are different technology right there that they provide incentives in exchange of some really, really great interviews. So these are the few ways of collecting data. Now, after you collect the data, what you do? One of the best practice is doing the affinity diagram. Affinity diagram is a practice where you collect all the data and then you create as many ideas that you can, and you just keep creating ideas. Forget about how you're gonna build those and how you're gonna just carry on those ideas. Just create as many as you can. The study details, insights with real data. Answer the research question and be easy to understand and inspire the direct question. So on the data analysis, you need to always remember on this part, like the data that you have collected, it's real data, it's not generated data, and it answers the research question that you have set up, and also be easy to understand all the analysis that you have done, and you inspire direct action that from this data we can do this, from this data we can do this. Now, challenges and best practices of this at the end. First is the communication. When we are doing the research, of course, be always show your passion, compassion to the users. The best practices for communication first is you have to be inclusive, be honest, be neutral, and be a team player. You set some question when you're asking question. You could example say, there is no right or wrong answer. We're just doing this for this research. So please feel free, and also be open to the answers. Some people might not like it and they could say something bad about the product, which is totally fine. And that's kind of help to create more opportunities in the business as well. Be respectful and compassionate to the participant and the stakeholders. Consider vulnerable population. This comes in the inclusive design as well. Always think about people which has challenges as well. Example, on the support chat mobile app, say there could be some families with small child. So you also need to take consent from them, and you have to also keep them in mind on that these data matters as well. And also another example to it, when in the support chat you try to find out the question that you're asking, you sometimes you thought probably the question will be very general, then you found out that those family with child, they're asking questions like where can they get hot water, where can they get um, baby food in the airport. So those kind of thing can come as well. So that's why you always have to consider vulnerable populations. At the end is the consent and data privacy, which is really important. You need to make your user very safe and provide them like a safe environment so that they can open up, they can speak up, and they feel really also challenged. They also feel very overwhelmed as well to participate in this. So at the end, what have we learned? We have learned the significance of user research and in UX design. The UX design without a research, it's a body without a soul. It is an iterative process. It's a continuous process. It's always a data-driven decision making so that you backed up by the data. And you always need to have ethical consideration once you are dealing with it. So that is all. That's a small wrap up. Um, Thank you everyone for listening. If you have any question, please ask. I'm happy to answer. And let's go through all those exercises that you have done so far. So yes, the floor is open now for questions.